You're about to listen to a podcast full of wonder, excitement, and discovery. It's time for an adventure through Odyssey. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Adventures Through Odyssey podcast, Odyssey Revisited. I'm Will.
I'm Gabe.
I'm John.
And today we're going to be talking about Album 8, Beyond Expectations. Now, this has been a schedule shift for us because someone had requested, when we requested episode topics, we talk about episodes they covered unfairly. And there's a specific one in here we all agreed on, so we bumped up Album 8 so we could talk about it. Now, we don't know how long we're going to talk about that episode, so this might be a two-parter, but I'll put them both up on Wednesday. But we're going to start with all the episodes that aren't that episode first. So we are going to start with By Any Other Name, episode 106, written by Paul McCusker, aired March 3rd, 1990. Kurt Stevens runs for student council, but lies a lot in his speeches, while Phil Phillips attempts to crash on Odyssey businesses, including Wits End.
I think this is a very funny episode.
It is. It's kind of like if Donald Trump ran an Odyssey.
I think that's putting him in a box a little bit there. Well, you got to give him a chance.
Yeah. Well, what was that? First off, again, Will trying to bring up random cultural references
Just get us in a fight.
That don't have a lot to do with the current situation.
It's a political joke.
Yeah, but it wasn't well placed, Will. Let's just go with that.
Okay.
I think this episode, and yeah, we're not stating any political opinions on here, so I'm not even gonna get on to our political. So that's just asking for trouble. I think this is a funny episode. Pretty well done. I do like at the end where it's like, he really didn't learn anything, and look, he's in trouble now. I mean, that's probably more like how real it would work out. Like, they're not gonna change, but they're gonna get caught. But it's funny and good. I think it's a point across, so yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I also think it was funny that at the end he didn't really learn anything because it just takes it back to a little bit more realistic, especially with like a school election.
Right, because they always make kind of phony promises anyway.
I like how on like TV shows and stuff, they make like such a big deal about class elections. I don't know if that's how it is in most high schools. In our high school, it was like, the day before, here's like two people's speeches. Decide who you want to be.
It's like, how much can they really change?
Yeah, they don't have any power, really. They're just like, sure.
Kind of like our youth group kids club. Whatever it's called, the Youth Leadership Commission.
The Youth Leadership Team, that's kind of true. I try to do some stuff on that. It sometimes it gets through sometimes when I'm like, I don't know, maybe we should shorten devotion a bit so it's not the whole youth group. Nope. Goes the whole time.
Hey, maybe now that you mentioned it on a podcast, they'll change it.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe they'll be like, now we're caught. Now we gotta change. Okay,
and to cover this episode's subplot about, the guy coming into Wits End and trying to change all the stuff, like, naming the train set the Iron Ball 5000 and the Raw Metal Power Push Starcade is a good parallel to the Kurt story, especially because, how do I want to put this? The villain doesn't learn anything, and he doesn't learn anything.
Right. I think this was really well done with two plots because they worked well with each other and they didn't totally clash.
Absolutely. And then Gabe, because John has run off to the restroom for a moment, do you know what episode this marks the first appearance of? Well, what character?
I don't know.
Welcome back, John. I just asked Gabe, what character does this episode mark the first appearance of? Do you know?
This is a trivia question for this week.
No, this is just kind of a fun thing.
Okay.
It's a pretty major character, so...
Repeat the question.
Man.
This episode marks the first appearance of which character? Don't Google it.
Ryan... Phil Jacobs? I don't know.
No,
I don't
it's
even
Bernard.
know. Okay, I don't even think Phil... Is it Phil Jacobs? Or is it Bill
It's Dale
Jacobs?
Jacobs.
Dale Jacobs? Okay. I failed the Odyssey fan base.
Yeah, you're not invited to the con this year.
Okay.
Okay, we will actually now move on to the next episode just to help pick things up here. Bad Luck, episode 107, written by Paul McCusker, aired March 10th, 1990. Rob is intent on proving that a chain letter won't cause her bad luck, but it would seem that there is some magical force working against her. Can I just say, I hate that the bad luck episodes always have to be tied to the character not doing something. So they get superstitious about not doing it.
Yeah, I agree with that. It seems like there's an ongoing plot in this album with magic.
That's a good point. And, you know, since chain letters don't exist anymore, they could remake this episode today with, like, those social media posts of, if you don't repost this, your friend is going to die.
Or if you comment on this, you have good luck, or, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm sure chain letters still try to exist, but people, like, Google it. Is this real? Okay, no. That's probably what they do.
Right, I don't even know how many people fell for those chain letters.
Enough.
Right, and it was a nice way to kind of say, okay, bad luck just happens, but does it always have to directly correlate with something like that? That's why I like the Mandy's having a bad day episode later on, because it doesn't really connect to her doing something that could be taken as causing the bad luck. And does Wit actually swoop in to help at the end of this one? I'm not sure.
I can't remember.
And I listened to it 2 days ago, and I can't remember.
He probably would.
Isn't it the dad? Dale Jacobs?
It would be Mr. Barkley. No, wait, it's Robin.
Yeah,
so,
it's Robin,
it would be
yeah.
It would be Dale Jacobs.
So you listened to it, you actually listened to it 2 days ago, Will?
Yeah, yes.
This is an okay episode. I mean...
Yeah, it's
a little...
dad.
It got dated. But...
Yeah, there's parts of it where I'm just like...
Right, but in fairness, it's not dated for the wrong reasons. There's not some, like, super off pop cultural reference. No one could have predicted Mail would have died.
Mail still exists. You just insulted the fans who fathers or are postmen or mothers. I don't want to be sexist
what about
here.
Wooten?
Yeah, you insulted Wooten, Will.
Okay, I'm not saying Mail's dead.
It's
going,
not
Will.
dead. It's far from dead.
You're digging yourself a hole, Will.
Okay, right, Mail's not
dead.
dead.
You're going to get
I'm
a bunch of hate
Netflix,
mail about saying that.
I'm on the Netflix DVD plan. That's why I'm not giving out my address.
If you get upset about this, I don't know how you would mail us, because I don't want to give out our address. So, email him and show him Mail's not dead.
I didn't mean Mail was dead. I'm just saying now things like chain letters are now more spam email or weird social media
that's
posts.
true.
That's more what I meant. I believe people still use the post service. So, I'm sorry, but, you know, Mail's not the force it used to be.
That's fair to say. Well, you still get pretty important things in the mail.
I completely agree. My aunt just sent me a package, but I can't get it because the post office isn't open till Monday.
Okay, we're going off track too much. We gotta get through this album.
Good point. We've got too much to say about C&C. Okay. A is for Attitude, episode 110, written by Phil Lawler, aired April 14th, 1990. Connie is convinced that having a positive attitude will enable her to overcome any problem.
I think this episode's very funny. I don't know if it really gets a good point across, because I know it takes, like, work to do something, but I feel like it's not the best episode to get, like, oh, you need to put in hard work, you just can't be positive about stuff. I feel like it's funny, and it does get a point, I just don't think it's that great of a point.
Gabe, are you still there?
Sorry, my video,
Okay.
it was kind of lagging, so I just cut it off. But,
No problem.
I think it's definitely a classic Connie episode, with her being very impressionable. And I think they could have got the point across better, but overall, I think it was pretty good.
Yeah, and it's nice to this is kind of one of the few times we see Connie in school.
Yeah, like she always talks about going to college and classes and stuff, and...
Well, this is still high school Connie, so...
Right, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, I do think it kind of throws the point away of, you do need to have a slight positive attitude going into these things, that you can't just all base it on your skill or your studying.
Yeah, definitely.
And then it does kind of have that whole, we're going to set up 3 things, take a break, then watch those 3 things fall apart structure of some early episodes had. Oh, and this is the episode that introduces the most dangerous location in Odyssey, apparently. The train trestle.
Yeah. Dangerous.
That they all run.
Yeah.
Because remember, that kid dies on it.
I thought it was a different train trestle.
I'm going to assume it's the same train trestle. They just say the train trestle.
I guess that's possible. Okay, yeah.
The only other thing I'll say is, this also shows why Hal Smith is the best wit, because when he's running down to get the kid off a train, he's like, you can tell he's legitimately serious. Even Paul Herlinger, who kind of sounded like Hal Smith, could never quite pull off the anger Hal Smith could, and Andrei Stoica definitely can't do it.
Yeah, okay.
First Love, episode 111, written by Paul McCusker, aired April 21st, 1990. Connie falls in love with Jeff Lewis, who is not a Christian.
All right, yet another vulnerable Connie episode in a row.
Yes. And, it's a topic they come back to. I do think
he comes back later, which is pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, they do bring Jeff back. Which kind of starts off the Odyssey Adventure Club not being great because they do all the mission trips, but whatever.
And then they haven't mentioned him since.
No, he's in The Cure.
Oh, right, but on like a real... Only in the Adventure Club, right?
Right, and not... Okay. Well, I'd say the Adventure Club is real episodes, but not like an album episode. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Now, back on the point of the actual episode, I think it's a fairly good episode. I think it's a good way of dealing with the idea, you shouldn't date a non-Christian. I like how it happens. I feel like they should probably go into some more of the effects. Like, okay...
Yeah.
This is why I feel like they don't cover that as well.
They sort of touch upon it with Jack later down the road.
I know, like, that's what I was thinking. Like, I know that, and that's a good reference, but it doesn't appear in this episode, and I think the episode does kind of need it.
It could have used a little more oomph, I'll agree. It does kind of feel like Whit just gives her some talking to, and she automatically breaks up with him. Not automatically, but Whit kind of eggs her on a little more than he probably should have. She needed to make the decision a little more independently.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Although I will say, it's interesting they get on Connie for skipping Bible study now and she stays with Jeff, but she does the same thing with Mitch.
And they get on her for that.
Well, yes, but they don't make him break up with him.
I know one thing is they are Christians, which is one thing, but remember there's this whole thing where they tell him you have to still do Bible study and stuff, like, that doesn't even, okay.
Okay, anyway, look, the point is Jeff found the Lord eventually and all the shippers were happy, so...
The shippers with who?
Connie
Characters and finding Christianity? Like...
Well, I'm saying like the people who maybe shipped Connie and Jeff were now happy because Jeff found the Lord.
No one wanted that. Next episode. Don't make up crap. That's the lesson. That's the lesson with this segment. So keep going.
Doesn't that make sense, Gabe?
A little bit.
Okay.
That means no.
Curious,
in a
isn't
weird
it? Episode
way.
112, written by Phil Lawler, aired April 28th, 1990. Ben and Esther Langford become convinced that Whit is getting married.
I think this is a very, very funny episode. Not practical. Would it happen
Not
in
by
real
any
life?
stretch of the imagination.
It doesn't make sense, but it's a funny episode, which I think it works for. Yeah.
Yeah, the problem is, they're not trying to keep it secret. If that makes sense. It's not like Wit's hiding something and they were trying to figure it out. They could have just asked him. That's why the episode's almost a little off to me.
Yeah, like, there's some episodes like this where people could have just asked Wit, and right at the end, he just says that.
Right,
which gives it kind of a weird vibe.
Why don't you just ask me?
Right, this isn't like that Secret Room episode where Wit wanted to keep it a surprise and I accidentally ruin it. This is kind of, okay, they're seeing some stuff. I don't know why they don't just say it.
Talking about applesauce?
No, it's an episode like with Aubrey and the blind girl, where they try to break into Wit's secret painting room.
Oh, okay. The Bible room, you mean, or whatever?
Yeah, it wasn't
it's
the
not
Bible.
the Bible room.
I don't know
what
what
you
it was.
mean.
I don't know what it was called.
Okay, I get what you're saying now. Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
Overall, pretty good, funny episode.
Yeah.
Yes. And apparently Officer Harley is hidden in the episode.
Oh, go back and listen to that one.
Well, apparently in the background you can hear Eugene inviting him to the wedding on the phone. I haven't heard.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
It's on the phone.
Because, Eugene's the same voice actor.
Oh, yeah.
So that's an even better layered joke. But,
yeah.
Okay. Suspicious Minds, episode 113, written by Paul McCusker, aired May 5th, 1990. When money goes missing from Wit's End, Connie and Eugene are determined to get to the bottom of it.
Again, another very funny episode. Just kind of not out there, just a little bit like, that seems a little odd. One, that you're not like, oh, is there money behind the register? Not like that could never happen.
I agree, but I would understand them not looking there.
Yeah, I understand that too, but like if they're setting up security systems, disguising themselves, they're not like, oh, maybe I should just check and like recount the money, look in the bin, oh wait, it's back there.
Yeah, I have to say, working in the fast food industry and where people are pretty paranoid about getting the drawer counts right, this is pretty unrealistic.
Well, yeah, but it's Wit's End. They're not gonna lose billions of dollars in franchise money if they lose $40.
Well, yeah, that doesn't happen. But just saying that, you would look places.
Yeah.
But would you hang around Jimmy John's in camouflage grease paint to catch your coworker?
No, that's why it's unrealistic.
Or electrocute the register?
No, because people have to use the register.
Yeah. Yeah, but of course, it takes Wit to figure it out, and all he has to do is close the register door. Because again, no one in Odyssey can do anything except Wit, until Wit has to leave.
And then all of a sudden they start functioning.
Yes. Which is something we can talk more about when we get to it, but as soon as I find the page... So, a good mystery, I get the point that they were overreacting to something that was pretty simple, but, still there. Alright, In Act of Mercy, episode 115, written by Paul McCusker, aired June 16th, 1990. After Tom Riley forgives Rodney Rathbone for breaking a fence and stealing apples, Rodney does not pass on that forgiving spirit. So again, let's reenact a parable episode.
Yeah, I think it's a good one. I feel like out of the three I can think of, being the Prodigal Jimmy, this one, and the one where they do the workers in the field, I feel like this is the weakest out of them. I feel like it's
I like this one a little bit better than Prodigal Jimmy.
I see why. But just personally, I like that one a little more. I feel like this one has a few things that are like...
Right. Now, interestingly, this was a remade Harley episode. And I'm not sure why no one ever points this out, but Rodney's voice changes halfway through the episode for a couple of scenes, and I think they just reused the Harley footage.
Are you sure?
Yeah, go back and listen to it. I think it's the same voice we use in the Harley episode, because this was a few years down the road, so they replaced whoever it was with Rodney. No, it's like when he confronts Peter and throws him in the garbage, it's a completely different voice.
I know what... he sounds a little different. I still think it sounds like Rodney. But...
maybe he was sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I think they just used the same footage to save some money.
If you want to think that, I remember it not sounding like that, but...
Also, you cannot play 6 out of 7 in checkers, guys.
Yeah, you can.
Not according to the wiki. It says, contrary to what the episode says, you can't play 4 out of 5 or 6 out of 7. You can't play... contrary to this episode, you can't play 3 out of 4, 4 out of 5, 6 out of 7, or 7 out of 8. So...
why?
Yeah. You don't... You can
because
play...
it says it right here!
That doesn't mean anything. Maybe the person who wrote the wiki didn't know what they were talking about. You can play like, oh, we're playing our 6 out of 7th game or something.
I think they're saying for who wins number-wise.
Yeah, but maybe that's not what they were talking about.
Okay, we can have this discussion later, and maybe someone in the comments can help us. First person in the comments gets a free...
nothing.
Something.
They get a free nothing.
No,
We're going with that.
No, they'll get a free shout-out at the beginning of next week's episode. So, enter it by Saturday night, and you'll get it... First person to enter gets their name mentioned at the beginning of next week.
No one.
All right. Pranks from Memories, episode 120, written by Phil Lawler, aired July 21st, 1990. Kurt Stevens tries a few pranks at wit's end and later tries one prank too many as he suspects revenge. So again, another Harley remake.
Yeah. It's okay. That's pretty much what I have to say about it. Not bad, not really good, just kind of there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it could have been a little bit more funny. Maybe a little bit better.
Yeah.
Overall.
I feel like the ending's a little cruel. I know, like, he sets it up and they wanted to backfire on him, but they pretty much planned that that's what he was gonna do, that he was gonna get covered in tar and feathers. I feel like that's a little... I don't know if it was tar. Maybe it was molasses, I don't know.
Right. And the problem is, the way the original episode ends, they just make him so paranoid he's jumpy for about a week, then tell him no one was going to prank him, he wound up pranking himself. So this is the loosest Harley remake they did, and they reused a lot of the Harley footage from that episode where they're interviewing Whit about the Bible room.
Yeah.
Because that original episode has the Bible room in it. This episode is a little... okay, I get it's supposed to be... don't prank too far or problems will happen. But let's just say there's someone in our family who loves to pull pranks, and no one's ever really been able to get revenge on him. Missing Persons, episode 21, written by Paul McCusker, aired July 28th, 1990. Various Odyssey residents search for Rodney Rathbone after he disappears. Hey, another Harley remake.
And another Rodney episode.
Yeah, I'm starting to notice a pattern here. I actually think this is better than the Harley episode because the Harley one's 2 parts and it almost becomes too... fillery.
Yeah, I feel like it's a good episode. I don't think it's great. I feel like it's just like, okay, that was a good listen. It's not much more than that.
Yeah.
It gets its point across, but it's just an episode, pretty much.
Yeah, I think they're probably just trying experimenting with Rodney as more of a main character, especially in this album. And it does get its point across. I think it could have been panned out a little bit more.
Absolutely. And then you hit this problem where I don't know why they tried to remake so many of the Harley episodes. I mean, why not just not touch them?
Right.
The Winning Edge, episode 124, written by Phil Lawler, aired August 18th, 1990.
Well, hold on. Gabe didn't finish his point with the last episode.
Oh. Go ahead, Gabe.
I'm trying to remember what it was now.
Now we gotta edit this out! 4 edits!
Something about Harley and edits and changes.
Oh, just about that they shouldn't have touched them, or just because they've done so many of them?
Yeah. I think that's what he was saying. All right. The Winning Edge, episode 124, written by Phil Lawler, aired August 18th, 1990. Bart Rathbone persuades Tracy Needlemeyer that winning at any cost is the only thing that matters. So remember, this is the softball episode?
Yeah. I really like this episode, actually. I like that it actually went pretty far. Like, that another girl gets injured and has to go, like, the hospital almost. I don't know if it was the hospital, but it was like she got pretty injured, and it just shows like what can happen if you go that far in winning.
Absolutely. Like when the kid cheats on the game show because Bart persuaded him to, I never felt like there was anything too, repercussion-y to that. So this episode really does feel like, okay, this is a legit thing that could happen to you.
Yeah, definitely. I think...
And it's one of the few baseball episodes I like.
Yeah, I think it was good how it was more realistic and had repercussions. And it's definitely a real thing that people get too competitive with sports.
Right.
Especially when it's like a small school.
Yeah. And it's interesting because this episode was clearly written before, parents complained about every little thing that the coach did wrong. Because Bart would be off the team in like 30 seconds after the first inning started if it was made today. All's Well with Boswell, episode 125, written by Phil Lawler, aired August 25th, 1990. Robin Jacobs tries to babysit a cat named Boswell, but goes on all sorts of adventures when the cat escapes. I would like to say the episode on the wiki for this episode does confirm my belief that Jesse was black. So...
Why?
I don't know. I thought Jesse was black.
No, what does it say on the wiki? I don't need
to know.
There's
a picture of the episode with Jessie in it. I don't know why. I thought she was black when I was a kid, but re-listening to it, I thought maybe she's white.
We don't need to know why, Will. We don't want to get into why you thought that, because it's not gonna I know you're not trying. You won't try to be. You're not trying to be insensitive. Something insensitive will come out.
It was nothing racist.
Just so no one gets mad, African American and Caucasian.
Yes,
okay.
Will.
I
yes.
wasn't trying to be offensive. But it was like for a while, I'm not even going to say that because I wrote some emails.
Okay. Okay. He doesn't mean anything. It would just come out wrong knowing him. Okay. Funny-ish episode. Again, would not happen. Like, a cat's not going to jump in random cars and they get stranded across town.
John, cats are evil.
Oh, now you're bringing up... Now you're... hating on cat lovers and... Okay, Gabe, say your piece with this episode quick, because we gotta hurry before Will insults anyone else.
Okay, unrealistic, and I didn't really think it was that funny.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
Next.
Wait, I've got something to say. The episode's biggest problem is the ending. The fact that she had dozens of them under the TV makes the whole thing, because it is so kind of dull and mean-spirited towards the two characters, feel very, okay, that was completely unnecessary, but not in a funny way.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we're stuck in the car, and for some reason Bernard doesn't know they're in there.
I think it was a pickup or something.
Right, and this might actually be the first mention of Connellsville.
I'm pretty sure it was probably before. Don't try and look it up. Next episode!
Yeah, I have no reference to back that up. Okay, we're done with the album at this...
Not true.
Okay. We're done with the episode at this very moment. We've still got one episode to talk about. We've got a lot to say about it, so we might be taking a quick edit break here, and you're going to have to join us in part 2, but it'll be put out the same day.